Hey guys, and welcome to the channel and the podcast. It's going to be a tennis update. As you can see, the ATP rankings are out as of today, so 28th of February, the last day of the month. And we've had some major movements, and I want to quickly discuss as well some of the recent tournaments. Rafael Nadal winning in Acapulco, Rublev in Dubai as Medvedev becomes world number one, breaking that stranglehold of the big four. The first person who's not named Murray, Nadal, Federer, or Djokovic since 2004 to do it. If you do want to hear more about that specifically and what it means, a couple of historical facts, do check out my other video, which talked about Medvedev becoming number one specifically and what it means as well. In terms of the recent tournaments, Rafa Nadal's been in fantastic form, 15 wins and no losses. He's won 3 tournaments in a row. He is on fire. The Melbourne, Somerset, Australian Open, and now Acapulco, and becomes the oldest champion at Acapulco at 18 years of age when he won it all those years ago, to now the oldest champion at 35. So some interesting little stats there as well, or fun facts. But Rafa Nadal is storming the capital right now, to be honest with you, and it's unexpected for a lot of people. For some, they knew about it. I mean, I'm assuming she probably won't be watching this, but if she is, Amy Lundy, I've been going through Twitter a lot recently, and she's been saying that, it's not a surprise to her. She just, I think, accepts the greatness of not just him, but Djokovic and Federer, and that if they are going to play, they're going to play when they're at, at least a good enough fitness level that they will be able to be a threat at any tournament. And for me, it's really been phenomenal to see his performances on the hard courts. On clay, I think we all know how good he is. He's also a very good clay court, a very good hard court player and a grass court player as well. I mean, he's one of the greatest on both those surfaces as well. He's just not as accomplished Grand Slam wise as Djokovic or Federer, right, in terms of total Grand Slams. But that's not to say that he's not very good on those surfaces. And I think he's shown a little bit of greatness on the hard courts at the start of this year, and of course winning that 21st Slam as well to take the lead in the Grand Slam race, which a lot of people wouldn't have thought of. Of course, Novak not playing in that tournament, but it doesn't at all, to be honest with you. It doesn't mean that it was any less valid, and I think for him, the form that he's taken is being, it's soared through the roof. Not only did he beat Medvedev in the final, he beat him in the semi-finals at Acapulco. Then he beat Norrie in the final. And the win against Medvedev was just clinical. Beat him in straight sets. Norrie as well. Norrie's been playing some really good tennis. A shout out to him. He's been playing phenomenal tennis the last few weeks. He won again, going through to the final, beating Tsitsipas in that semi-final. And for Nadal, it was just a case of carry on his good form, and he's been serving really well. The forehand is firing, as it always is when he's playing on top form. The backhand has been so good, I think, since the turn of the year, and we know how good it's been the last few years. It's such an improved shot, and it's become so dependable and a weapon at times. And then at the net, it's something that has taken years and years of work, but he's got to a stage where he is in the top 3 volleys, I think, on tour. That's where I see it. And the overhead is almost flawless. So at the moment, he's looking like he's in a very, very good spot right now. And honestly speaking, it's very hard to see him lose right now, because unless he gets some type of injury, I think it's going to be very tough for anyone to beat him in this form. So hopefully he stays injury free. And going into the clay court season, he'll have to make some adjustments. And you might be surprised with me saying that, but I think given the way that he's adapted his game to the hard courts, he's stepping in more on serves, for example, on service returns. On the clay, he won't need to. He'll go back to staying back, I would assume. Excuse me. He'll go back to kind of standing further back. And that's understandable, because on the clay, he's got more time, and you can get away with that, and you can hit more loopy, heavy topspin ground strokes, and you'll get more, I guess, you'll get more bang for your buck, right? You'll definitely um, get success playing that way, and that's why he's had so much success with that heavy ball on the forehand side, on the backhand side as well. Great depth, but not necessarily always hitting it particularly flat through the surface. And it'll be interesting to see his evolution as he comes into the clay court season. And I'm assuming he will go back to type of sorts, but I'm sure he'll also be bringing some type of tweaks to his game as well. The most amazing thing about the big three is the fact that they're always trying to adapt and improve their games. And even if it's just tactical changes rather than specific improvements on aspects of their game, it's impressive to see. And with Nadal, for example, serve volleying has definitely done that more than I think I've seen him. Same with Djokovic as well. The serve is bulked up a lot. We know the forehand's more of a weapon for Nadal. The drop shot's been really good for a few years now. The volleying as well, very impressive. And the return position we've seen recently has had a big impact. He's also bulked up his serve as well, has been tweaking around with that. So impressive, really impressive. And it's the longest unbeaten streak he's had to the start of a year. So it'll be intriguing to see how he fares for the rest of the year, but onwards and upwards. And he rises, even to number 4 in the world, overtaking Stefanos Tsitsipas. So they switch places after that win in Acapulco, and Tsitsipas obviously only making the semi-finals there. So he's making his way up the rankings. For Rublev, he won in Dubai his 3rd title in 4 weeks. He lost, actually, I think it was 5 weeks ago, to Felix in a final in Rotterdam. Since then, he has got revenge, and not only got revenge, but he just got on a ridiculous win streak. He is the king of ATP 500s, Andre Rublev, that's for sure. And he beat Vesely in the final, who, of course, was Djokovic's conqueror. And that was really interesting, beating Djokovic in the quarterfinals there. Djokovic making his return to the court, which is great to see, by the way. Great to see him back in action, facing a very hungry Musetti in the first round. And then he got through okay. And then against Vesely, I mean, it can happen. He hasn't played all year. It's his first tournament of the year. And it's not surprising. And of course, he had to win that tournament, I think. If he won that tournament, then he would have been okay. I think he would have kept his number 1 status. Medvedev, unless Medvedev won the tournament at Acapulco, which he didn't. So, yeah, good to see him back. Vesely is a tricky kind of talented left-hander. And look, it was great to see him make a run. And Rublev just too strong, and he's such a good player. Look at that. I love that even number at 5,000 as well. He's also managed to jump a place after that win. He's gone above Berrettini at 6. So he's now at 6, Berrettini at 7. Casper Ruud and Felix staying where they are at 8 and 9. And then Hurkacz has made a little run there, as you can see, at 10. So he's gained some points. It's been intriguing the last few weeks just to see how people are progressing. Shapovalov losing to Vesely in the semi-finals was, I thought, a bit disappointing. He's not really kicked on the way that I think he should have. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see his development as the season goes on, and mentally as well, where he's at. But yeah, really happy to see Rublev come back into some type of form. Last year wasn't a particularly good year for him after a very impressive 2020. 2021 wasn't the best of years, I would say. So now coming into 2022, again, the Australian Open wasn't great. Now he's found a bit of form. It'll be, I guess, going into Roland Garros, the key question will be, given his type of game really does suit the quicker courts, which the Bay was a quicker court, how will his game transcend onto the clay courts? And how well will he play on those courts? I don't know, is the real question. The good thing about the clay for him will be that he'll be able to make a lot more forehands, given it's a slower surface, so he'll be able to run around his backhand a lot more and be destructive with that forehand. The bad thing will be that the ball won't go through as much. He won't be able to hit winners as freely, as easily, and there's a lot more I think, reward for hitting with higher topspin, and he does at times, but he also does like to hit the ball very flat through the surface. So it'll be intriguing to see how he performs on those clay courts. I don't think he's a bad clay court player. He's just not, I think, naturally suited to the clay as some others are, for example, a Tsitsipas or a Rude. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much all from me. Medvedev, of course, you can see as well, becoming world number one, usurping Djokovic at the top there. So he's now the new world number one, Daniel Medvedev. And I tell you what, I think he'll stay there for a bit of time because you can see there's a big gap between himself and Zverev, over 1,000 points. Zverev looks like he's only going to get a fine for his antics. A bit fortunate there, to be perfectly honest with you. But it is what it is. For Djokovic, he's going to be playing some tournaments he won't be playing. Roland Garros want their players to be double vaccinated, if I'm not mistaken. So that does mean that as it stands, he won't be playing at the French Open, which is, yes, a big positive for Nadal. He would have gone into it the favourite either way. But I think this Roland Garros is going to be interesting with all the different players who do like the clay, like Tsitsipas, Rude, Berrettini will fancy his chances there as well. Felix has got a good game for clay, just hasn't won a game yet at Roland Garros somehow. Rublev, Medvedev, Zverev, right, is also a good clay court player. So we'll see. We'll see. I hope Djokovic does play Roland Garros. There's still a few tournaments, obviously, before that. But as it stands, I'm just saying it how it is. Unfortunately, he wouldn't play. But at Wimbledon, he would. We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Please remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I really do appreciate it. And thank you guys for all your support. If you're watching on YouTube, do like and subscribe. If you're watching on a podcast platform, then do follow us or subscribe. We are growing and appreciate all your support. If you are interested in some cool perks, do check out our Patreon. It is Quality Shot, the same as the channel name, or one word. And do check us out on Twitter, QualityShot1, and on Instagram, QualityShot.f. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and I'll see you on the next video.